The dilemma we had since making Conrad our zombie was that he listened to anyone. We were starting to catch Rebecca trying to get him to help her escape. After catching Conrad carrying her up the basement stairs, we decided it was Rebecca's turn for lobotomy, even if she was not quite ready due to her previous procedures. The surgery did not go well for Rebecca. I cleared out her orbital cavities carefully before the operation, while she had cried and hollered. I would have thought by now she'd be more compliant. I was attempting to conduct the lobotomy in the classic 1940 style by going through the eye socket. Jack lost his temper again as I had my ice pick deep in her skull. She had reached out and grabbed my arm, one of the bindings too loose. Seeing this, Jack took his cleaver and took the girl's arm off. The squirt of blood across my face made me jolt. Shoving the tool too deep into her brain, she died on the operating table. Since she was already a bloody heap, Jack took his cleaver and expressed the rest of his rage on her body. Chopped up into pieces, we had Conrad push the lumps through the meat grinder. We like to feed the strays with the leftovers. That was over way too quick. The fun was too short-lived, Jack complained as we washed up. We need ourselves another one. It's too soon. 2 days in a row is already quick succession. If we go out again, it looks suspicious. I knew he was being impatient and probably guilty for having caused most of the issues with Rebecca. We'll wear disguises, he offered me. Knowing how stubborn my twin could be, I resigned to the fact that we would be getting another subject. Fine. Wear something touristy. Jack sported a Hawaiian shirt too big for him, with a sun hat and glasses. I threw on a I Love New Orleans t-shirt, sported oversized sunglasses, as well as a short-haired blonde wig. I was happy to see tourists out in similar get-ups when we took to the streets. We would have fit right in if we had fanny packs and cameras. We began our prowl for a female specimen. Our victim came to us, a Latina, short in stature, who offered to suck Jack off for a quick buck or drugs. In turn, we offered her a place to stay and some drugs to come off her addiction. She eagerly agreed and clung to both of us, chattering on about all the things she could do for us, as long as she got what we wanted. She was the first subject to read over the waivers before signing them. It's to protect us so you can't sue us if you get sick from the food we give you or if you fall ill while staying with us, I explained while she asked why medical release forms were needed. And she seemed to accept that and sat back in the van while we drove. It was odd when she refused the pills we offered her, claiming she didn't take anything for free. It was another first to have someone walk onto the property with us, completely compos mentis. Jack and I exchanged concerned looks, but welcomed Selena into our home. I could tell Jack's temper was coming back up the more the chatty Hispanic spoke, twirling her fingers in her hair and smacking gum with her lips. His fists were clenched. He was grinding his teeth. Selena finally asked for some drugs, and we took the opportunity to take her to the basement. I led the way, Jack following behind her. Down in the basement, Conrad was still grinding, even though his meat supply had run out. Jack stationed himself at the bottom of the stairs, and I turned around to face Selena, smiling widely. But Selena was smiling too. "I knew it," she said, losing her accent. "I knew people were picked up and disappearing." She was smirking, withdrawing a pistol from her waistband. "I'm Detective Selena Vega, and you're under arrest." The weariness of her features faded as fast as morning dew. Her face foamed and de-aged as the young detective shook off her drug addict persona. She put a wall to her back and pivoted, pointing the gun right at me. "You don't even know who we are," I said calmly, "or what it is that's down here." "We're not under arrest for anything." Jack's face was beet red, and his clenched fists were shaking. "I can smell the death." Selena jerked her head towards Conrad. "I watched you pick him up yesterday." "You're mistaken. That's our cousin. He's special. Also, I'd like to see some identification, Detective." I had my hands up in an unarmed, harmless manner. "Where is your backup, though?" It had been too long since she had announced that she was arresting us for anyone else to be accompanying her. Jack looked up the stairwell and then back to Selena, his anger twisting into a sneer. "Yes, Detective. Where is your backup, your partner?" He stepped closer to me. "It's good to have someone always by your side. That's why I have Jill." His hand pressed into my lower back. Selena gulped. It was the slightest swallow in her throat, but I saw it. "Now," I whispered. He pushed hard into my back, launching me forward and to the side, while he crouched and lunged at her like a tiger. She only got off 2 shots before the wind was knocked out of her, Jack's shoulder hard pressed into her stomach. I stumbled with my momentum, but managed to turn around and meet them both. I yanked the gun from her hand while my right hook caught her in the face. She spit blood and my knuckles throbbed. Jack pulled her off the wall and slammed her back into it. This time, her head whiplashed back into the concrete. And she was out. "Are you hurt?" I asked, pushing Selena to the ground and examining Jack from head to toe. He had blood coming from his shoulder. I couldn't possibly repeat Jack's reply. I spat on her and kicked her in the head for good measure. "I'll feel it in a minute when the adrenaline wears off," Jack told me, his surgical experience kicking in. "Is it a through and through?" I checked his back and nodded. "Just means I need to be sewn shut. Help me." Once Jack was patched up, we took our detective to the operating table and debated what to do. It was an interesting dilemma. "People will know she went missing," I observed, pulling my wig off. "If she was working alone, though, still means no tracing her to us." My shoulder makes me a piss-poor surgeon at the moment. "Meat grinder it is," I sighed, raising the cleaver above my head.